Hi guys, it's Mattiace, and in today's Warzone video we'll be talking about this particular car, the SUV, which in my opinion is actually one of the better ones now after the truck has been nerfed. Now what you see a lot in this video is me switching seats, and I do that by pressing the left control since I'm a PC player and I'm using the default key. Now this is something that I've been doing in a lot of Battlefield games, and I've also been doing it in a game called H1Z1. But I honestly haven't seen many people apply this technique in Warzone, which of course have a lot of explanations. Cars are rather vulnerable, or they have a lot of counters, and shooting the player inside the car normally isn't all that hard. It's easy to lose confidence in combat while still being in the car, which is why most people use it only to get away from a bad position. Now in most situations, at least when you're far enough away from your opponents, most of the bullets that they hit when they're trying to shoot you are going to hit the car, and it can absorb quite a bit of damage, which allows you to get in a good position to take your opponent out. Now, for obvious reasons, there are many situations where it's much better to get out of the car, get behind cover, behind a rock or a tree or a building, and take the fight that way. But in this video we will be focusing on when I mostly stay in the car, switch seats and shoot back. Unfortunately, of course, relying too heavily on the cars can put you in bad situations such as this, where you find yourself out in the open, the only cover you have is the car, which is about to be blown up by some enemies, and you really don't want to be near it when that happens. Now, I've been planning this video for a long time because I really wanted to have a lot of examples before I made it. And what happens with that is that the game changes throughout the patches, but for what you see in this video, most of it, if not all of it, has worked from day one, and I don't see that changing now after we have the update with the stimulus. Now, just to be clear, this is about solo BR. You do not want to attempt this playing 3 or 4 man squad. Now keep in mind, many of the explosives that counters cars have enormous splash damage, much more against cars than against players. And yes, I'm sure you can do this with a buggy as well, but it's a little bit too open, and I think it's way too easy to shoot the driver. Now another thing that I want to point out also with the car, and this is especially important if you use the car to get to a loadout drop or a buy station, is that as much as the car seems to have enormous hitbox when it comes to taking damage from explosives, it also seems to have an enormous hitbox when it comes to getting in and out of it. And I've been many times I've been trying to get my loadout or trying to buy a UAV or something, only to get back into the car again, even though I'm pointing in a completely different direction than where the car is at. Now, for the most part, when I switch back to the seat, I actually get out of the car and then get back in it again, especially if I need to plate up or reload my weapon or something, because I just feel like I'm a little bit too much of a sitting duck doing that while still being in one of the passenger seats of the car. Now, the game being in beta and all, I don't know if they're going to change this, but as I'm sure you know, you can drive with full speed right into a tree or a wall or some such and not lose a single hit point. It's a little bit strange, and it might be a bit of a balance issue, but if cars did take a little bit more realistic damage from the environment, then obviously that would change up a lot of how you could use them. Now, whether or not you see this as a problem, it's up to you to make your case one way or another. Personally, I don't think about it all that much. There are many things in Warzone that should have higher priority, in my opinion. Now, many times when you approach an enemy, one of the best ways to use your car is not actually as a way of attacking your enemy, but more as a diversion. A lot of players will focus on the car, giving you a window of opportunity to take them out when they are not focusing on you. However, it is very, very important not to be blindsided if you have a bit of success using the cars. What happened to me a few times was that I got a few kills with the car and I started being a bit overconfident. And the problem is that when you drive around in the car, you're highlighted on the map. And if you do this for too long, then of course, especially some of the more experienced players, they will be ready for you when you approach them. And, taking out a car with a C4 or with a rocket is normally not all that hard. Now me myself, I don't normally counter cars with rocket launchers because I really want to have an assault rifle and an SMG in my inventory at all times. But yeah, the RPG is rather popular and it is for more reasons than just countering vehicles. Now, depending on the situation, your car can be your best friend or it can be your worst enemy. Don't be afraid to use it, but do not overuse it. And whatever you do, don't trust them. Now, if this is something new to you and you want to try it out, now there's another thing that you need to consider, and that is the angle at which you approach your opponents. Notice how I was unable to see him there for a moment, and also remember you are quite limited in how much you can turn.
I can get her.
I'll just go with the car and just YOLO it. I'll just YOLO it, fuck it.
Yeah, you can get out of there. They're in the zone. They're in the zone.
Oh, fuck them.
Okay, sniper got me from left.
Yeah, that's...
So now there's another thing that I've noticed about getting out of the car when you're in a crucial situation, and that is that it feels like your character is a little bit unresponsive just the very moment you jump out. And that can put you in a lot of trouble, especially if you're jumping out to kill an opponent that is a little bit to your side. And I've died a few times that way actually, when it feels like your character is just for a moment kind of stuck a little bit. And I guess it makes sense that you shouldn't be able to move around freely right after you get out of the car in full speed. Now, Call of Duty isn't really known for its vehicle gameplay, and maybe there are a lot of things that are just unfinished in Warzone. But what I would like to hear from you guys is, what do you think about where cars and vehicles are at the moment? Are there any specific changes that you would like to see happening in the near future? And is there anybody out there that, like me, secretly are hoping that Call of Duty is going to be a true competitor to Battlefield when it comes to big-scale conquest warfare with tanks, with helis, with jets, and all those things that normally we associate with Battlefield? Let me know what you think in the comment section below, and please enjoy the rest of the video. Thanks for watching.
Can't get in. Not gonna go for that drop there. Oh shit. Aha!